Brackets are almost done, only Midwest to go. Let's go. What's going on, everybody? It's me again, Golden Blue Dude. If you haven't already, please go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. I do videos every single day. Only one region to go, and that is the Midwest bracket region. First up, the 1 seed Illinois against the 16 seed Drexel. As usual, not really going to break it down. Illinois advances. Then we have the 8-9 matchup. Georgia Tech against Loyola Chicago. Loyola Chicago is the 8 seed. 24-4 is their record. They finished first in the Missouri Valley Conference, and they won the Missouri Valley Conference tournament. 71.5 points per game and allowed just 55.5 points per game. That's pretty good. They are 0-1 against the top 25. Their BPI is 23. They are on a 6-game win streak. For Georgia Tech, they finished third in the ACC. They're 17-8 overall, 75.5 points per game, and allow 70 points per game. They're 5-3 against the top 25. Their BPI is 35. Currently, they are on a 9-game win streak, including winning the ACC tournament. I think this is going to be a good game. I want to pick Loyola Chicago. I'm going to have to go with the hotter team. Georgia Tech goes to the second round. Next up, the 5-12 matchup. The 5 seed Tennessee, which surprised me, and the 12 seed Oregon State. Tennessee finished 4th in the SEC. They're 18-8, 72.5 points per game, and they allow just 63.2 points per game. They're 2-2 against the top 25. Not that great. BPI is 12, though. They've won 3 out of their last 5 games, but they did lose to Alabama in the SEC semifinals. For Oregon State, they did finish 6th in the Pac-12. Not good. Overall record, 17-12. It's not bad for a 12 seed. 70.7 points per game, and they allow 68.3 points per game. Their BPI is 87. That's not great. They're 2-1 against the top 25, and they've won 6 out of their last 7. That's pretty good, and they won the Pac-12 tournament. I think this is where you pick the 12 over the 5 upset. It screams upset. I'm taking Oregon State. Next up, the 4-13 matchup. Oklahoma State against Liberty. Oklahoma State, the 4 seed. They finished 5th in the Big 12. The record 20-8, 77.1 points per game, and they allow 72.9 points per game. That defense needs to get better. They are 9-5 against the top 25. That's a really good record. BPI is 36, and they've won 8 out of their last 10 games, including a win over Baylor. They did lose to Texas in the Big 12 championship. For Liberty, they finished first in the A-Sun, and they won the A-Sun tournament. Their record is 23-5. They score 74.9 points per game and allow 59.6 points per game. That's a good defense. They haven't played a top 25, and their BPI is 76. They are on a 12-game winning streak, but if you go back, they lost to Missouri, TCU, and Purdue, so anybody significant they played, they lost to. I think that trend continues. I like Liberty, but I have to go with Oklahoma State. Next up, the 6-11 matchup. The 6 seed San Diego State against the 11 seed Syracuse. San Diego State finished first in the Mountain West. They're 23-4, 74.1 points per game, and allow 60.6 points per game. Their BPI is 18, and they are 2-0 against the top 25. They also won the Mountain West tournament, and they're on a 14-game win streak. For Syracuse, they finished 8th in the ACC. This is what they do every year. They finish in the middle or kind of lower half of the ACC and then get into the big dance. Overall record 16-9, 75.8 points per game, but allows 70.7 points per game. They're 1-3 against the top 25. BPI is 33, but they have won 3 out of their last 4, but they did lose to Virginia in the quarterfinal of the ACC tournament. Usually Syracuse does some damage, but I'm not liking what I see from Syracuse. Their defense isn't as good as usual. They're allowing 70 points per game. Usually that's what they rely on. Their offense a tad better, but I think San Diego State's offense is just a little bit better. I have to go with the Aztecs. I know, different from my live show. In the 3-14 matchup, my team, the 3 seed West Virginia against the 14 seed Morehead State. West Virginia finished 3rd in the Big 12, 18-9 their overall record, 5-7 against the top 25. I hated saying that, but it's the truth. BPI is 27, and we've lost 3 out of our last 4 games, including a loss to Oklahoma State in the Big 12 quarterfinal. For Morehead State, they finished 2nd in the Ohio Valley behind Belmont, and I thought Belmont belonged. They didn't get in. They're 23-7 overall, 68.8 points per game. That's not good, but their defense pretty good. 63.4 points per game is what they allow. They're 0-2 against the top 25. BPI a bad 154. They did win the Ohio Valley tournament, and they've won 19 out of their last 20 games. And I saw their stats, it kind of scared me, but the fact that their offense is very anemic, I think that bodes well for West Virginia, and West Virginia will score. I'm taking the Mountaineers. Next up, the 7th seed versus the 10th seed. 7th seed Clemson. They finished 5th in the ACC. Overall record 16-7. They score 65.3 points per game. That is not good at all. They allow 62 points per game. Good defense. 2-1 against the top 25, BPI of 38, and they've won 6 out of the last 8. But they did lose to Miami in the second round of the ACC tournament. You can't do that. For the 10 seed Rutgers, they finished 6th in the Big Ten, 15-11 overall record. Personally, I don't think they belong, but whatever. 70 points per game and allow 68.2 points per game. 1-7 against the top 25. They keep proving my point right. BPI 48, they've lost 4 out of their last 7 games. They lost to Illinois in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. I think Clemson wins this game. Rutgers is not good. They're just not. 1-7. Clemson is a quality opponent. I think Clemson does win this game. It'll be a close game because offense will be hard to come by. I'll take Clemson in a rough game to watch. Next up, the 2 seed Houston against the 15 seed Cleveland State. Houston finished 2nd in the AAC. How did that happen? 24-3 is their overall record, 77.6 points per game, and allows just 57.9 points per game. So they're going on offense and defense. 1-0 against the top 25, BPI 3. That's amazing. And they did win the AAC tournament. They're on a 7-game win streak, but the thing that I can't get out of my head is they did lose to Tulsa and East Carolina. 2 very bad teams. For Cleveland State, they finished 1st in the Horizon League. Overall record of 19-7, 71.5 points per game, and allows 70.6 points per game. They're 0-1 against the top 25. DPI 186. That is terrible. Of course, they did win the Horizon League tournament, and they've won 9 out of their last 11 games. I just don't think they're good enough to beat a high-quality opponent like Houston. But will Houston do like they did against Tulsa and East Carolina? It is possible, but I think they'll be on their A game, and Houston moves on. Now we're into the second round. We have the 1 seed Illinois against the 9 seed Georgia Tech. Illinois finished 2nd in the Big Ten. They're 22-6, 81.1 points per game, allows 68.6 points per game. They're 7-3 against the top 25. That's a good record. BPI 4. They won the Big Ten tournament, and they've won 14 out of their last 15 games. Now, in my live show, I picked Georgia Tech. I'm not doing that. I've actually researched it, and I've looked it over. I'm taking Illinois. Georgia Tech is extremely hot right now, but so is Illinois, and they are an overall better team. They are going to shoot the lights out. It's going to be a good game, high scoring. I'll take the Illini to go to the Sweet 16. Next up, the 12 seed Oregon State versus the 4 seed Oklahoma State. Yes, I think Oregon State is one of the better 12 seeds. That's why I picked their upset in the 12-5 matchup. But Oklahoma State has come on strong at the end of the year. They should know they beat West Virginia twice, including the Big 12 tournament, and they did get to the Big 12 championship and barely lost to Texas. I have to roll with the hot hand. I know Oregon State's a little hot as well, but Oklahoma State is a dangerous team right now. The Cowboys get to the Sweet 16. Next up, the 6th seed San Diego State against the 3 seed West Virginia. At first, this matchup kind of made me nervous. San Diego State's BPI is higher than I expected, but their offense isn't quite as good as West Virginia's, and I think by now West Virginia will have caught their groove, get things going. Defense, okay, not great. San Diego State's defense, okay, not great. Could be a sloppy game, but I think in the end, West Virginia's experience and being tested as much as they have been tested will win out. I think West Virginia moves on to the Sweet 16. Then the 7th seed Clemson against the 2 seed Houston. This game could actually get ugly. Clemson does not have much offense. They have a good defense, not much offense. Houston has a ton of offense and a decent defense. I think the advantage favors Houston a lot. This could turn out to be a 15, 18-point blowout in favor of Houston. I'm taking the Cougars to get to the Sweet 16. Our first Sweet 16 game. The 1 seed Illinois against the 4 seed Oklahoma State. This will be a great game. Oklahoma State on a roll. Illinois on a roll. Illinois had actually a rough start to the season, and they have rebounded nicely. Oklahoma State started things off slowly. They've rebounded nicely. But Illinois has looked just a little bit better than Oklahoma State recently. I gotta take the 1 seed in this situation. Illinois gets to the Elite 8. The next Sweet 16 matchup is the 3 seed West Virginia against the 2 seed Houston. Houston does have a pretty good offense and a decent defense, but they have not been tested really at all this year. And I can't get out of my brain, they lost to Tulsa and East Carolina. Those are bad losses. West Virginia, much better than those teams. Much better than pretty much any team in the AAC. So the more I thought about it, the more confident I am in picking West Virginia getting to the Elite Eight. Give me the Mountaineers to the Elite Eight. Now we're to the Elite Eight. Now this is when things get a little bit nervous for West Virginia fans. The 1 seed Illinois against the 3 seed West Virginia. Look, I have faith in my team. I really do. But Illinois is a whole nother beast. Really the only hope that West Virginia has of getting to the Final Four is if Illinois gets knocked out before we have to play them. And on my live show, I had Georgia Tech knocking them out. But after sitting down and looking things over, I think Illinois advances to the Elite Eight. So West Virginia will have to play Illinois in the Elite Eight. Bad news for West Virginia. This is where the ride ends. Sorry, Mountaineer fans. Illinois gets to the Final Four and West Virginia gets denied. And the misery continues in Morgantown. But still a good season. And hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe somebody does knock off Illinois before we have to meet them. There's my Final Four. Kansas, Alabama, Arkansas, and Illinois. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you on my next show.